my sophomore year of college, I started to get really sick, kind of maybe around December, January. I don't know, I thought I was maybe like depressed or, just run down, and so I decided to study abroad that spring in Cape Town. I thought maybe a change in scenery would help.
But when she came home, Brooke could no longer dismiss how sick she felt.
Went to the doctor at noon. She called me at 5, told me to go to the hospital. By 8, I was diagnosed with AML.
She was already in pursuit of med school, but her AML, or acute myeloid leukemia diagnosis, changed her approach on cancer research.
Seeing just how sick I got and how sick the other patients that I met in the hospital got from transplant, and just changed my perspective on it, and just made me realize that, the most aggressive treatment is not always the best treatment.
Today, she researches CAR T cells as a gentler approach to curing cancer.
The significantly less trauma that people endure when they're going through treatment. I think that's something that going through treatment has taught me to really value.
Her motivation for a cure amplified when her own treatment began to fail.
But when I went through my initial induction protocol, it didn't work, and it was considered a complete induction failure. Essentially, they told me to do my funeral wishes, and I was 19. I was just horrified. And the only reason that I ended up making it was because of clinical trials and research.
Seeing the impact that cancer research had for her own recovery, Brooke now strives to give back to other research efforts.
For Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, I decided to do an online fundraiser. And we did a guess how many M&Ms are in a jar. They're yellow for pediatric cancer, which is the color. And on the back they say unaware, because instead of being aware of childhood cancer, hopefully in the future we can be unaware, because we will cure it.
While fighting her own battle, Brooke came across a young AML patient in search of a bone marrow transplant. Knowing research wasn't always enough, Brooke decided to help little Aubrey search for a donor.
She was in search of a donor, and so I put on a big bone marrow drive at my school. We ended up registering 138 people, which was pretty exciting because the bone marrow registry set a goal of 50 for us, and we almost tripled it. That kind of turned into this big effort where I ended up founding a chapter of Be the Match at Stanford, which is the school I go to.
Through everything, Brooke often read for comfort. Her favorite author, Oliver Sacks, shares a similar background, leading her to write about her own fight against cancer.
He wrote a piece about how his diagnosis made him feel more alive. It made him feel acutely aware of his existence, and it made him feel like things mattered more, not less. That was really, really how I felt, and so I wanted to be able to connect with other people in that way. A lot of me felt like if I was gonna die, then I wanted to kind of leave a mark of what was my perspective on the world, and not just about cancer, but just who was I? Strength is not really what helps you survive cancer. It's really medical research and luck, and so it's not just sunshine and rainbows just because you lived. It's really just horrible that it happened in the first place. I hope it happens to as few people as possible in the future. It's not something I'd wish on anyone.
The goal is eventually to get rid of it, right?
Absolutely.